So in June, I somehow managed to read 12 books, and I've still got no idea how that even happened. But I'm very happy that I did because it meant I got through some absolutely great reads and also struggled through some fucking awful ones. But still, I want to go through and talk a little bit about each book and see which ones you should read and which ones you should avoid at all fucking costs because there has been quite a few, and I don't think people should have to suffer through horrible reads other than myself because for some reason I seem to enjoy that, which, yeah, makes no sense, but we're going to go with it. Luckily, there's a bit of mixture between genres. There's just some manga thrown in there, and there has been like a classic book thrown in there as well. So yeah, nice mix this month. Can't complain. Other than obviously, the bad ones, but still. Hopefully, you like some of the books in here, and if you do, then let me know because it'd be great to talk about them in the comments. And let's get into it. So let's talk about the first book, and that one is An Absolute Remarkable Thing by Han Green. This is one of the books that went viral long ago, and everyone read it, and it was great because it was kept up with modern times. And I recently read it, and I thought it was good. Do not get me wrong, I really did think it was good. But there were certain aspects of this book that just, for me, felt like it was a bit of a struggle to get into. And the reason for that is I really hated the main character like towards the end because she's done what every single influencer ever does and changes who they are to get money and all this sort of shit, which I understand is the premise of the book. I really do, don't get me wrong there. But to me, this just made the book feel so much harder to read because I hate people who are like that. Like, I followed people from when they were small, like small time creator, and they've become a bigger one. And the way they've changed has made me unsubscribe and unfollow them and just not care about any of the content they're producing, even though it's something I might like. It's just the way they've changed as a person. I just can't deal with it. And that brought back that sort of memories when I was reading this book. So yeah, I rated it 3 stars. I think it's good. And if you do want to get into this sort of thing, then I recommend you pick it up. But just be prepared for that. The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown is a book that pretty much everyone has read. I can guarantee you mum and dad have probably read it as well. This to me was always a scary book because it's got so hyped, it's so well known, people love it so much that to me it just felt like it could never live up to them high standards. And thankfully, it has. I fucking loved my read with this. I managed to read all 500 pages in 3 days, which is a task in itself. Luckily, I was also on holiday, so that kind of helped. But still, this where this book was written and how fast paced it was and how enjoyable the characters were to read about and the twists and the turns and everything else that makes a good crime book good. This had, and I can see why so many people love it, and it has made me want to read the other two that are in this series. I think it's two, but we're gonna go with it. Yeah, this for me is my one and only 5 stars of this month. And I very rarely give 5 stars, so that's how you know this is good. And if you haven't read it yet, pick it up ASAP. Let's talk Kindle. I picked up Break Room, thankfully, for 99p on Amazon, and I picked it up because I liked the other book the author wrote, the Delagroot Department Store, and I picked it up mainly because it also said this was a thriller. And I fucking love thrillers. It was a small 200 pages thriller. Let's see what this is all about. And when I say that the scariest part of this whole book, considering it's a thriller, remember, was the fact that I wasted my fucking time with it, is a bit of a letdown. I rated this book 2 stars. Not a single thing happens in it that makes you want to go, oh, that was interesting. Because yes, the concept is fine. It's about a TV show of office workers trying to figure out all the weird rules that they try and break. I thought, even then, before I started reading it, I was like, how is this going to become a thriller? That piqued my interest. Read it, very fucking disappointed. And if you are thinking about picking it up, don't waste your time or your money. For 99p, you can find another book on Amazon that will be a lot better than this. 2 stars. Another Kindle book, Sorry for Your Loss. Once again, picked it up for 99p because it was a thriller and it was somewhat short. And I regretted my decision so much so quickly with this book. Like, it felt to me that no matter how much the author tries to put into the book, it just was never going to work. This is your absolute bog standard of thriller. There was some like twists and turns sort of thrown in there. But if you have ever read a thriller in your life, or a mystery book, or a crime book, or anything that has a slight twist, you're going to predict what happens in the first 50 pages. Like, there's not even any like sort of, oh, maybe how has this happened? It was, yes, this is definitely going to happen. It is so easy to see. And the fact that it was like so many people were raving about this book in the reviews as well. And I read it, I was like, did we read a different book here? Because no part of this was interesting or fun or scary or twisty. And it just felt like we were reading two completely different books here. And the fact that someone said this is one of the best thrillers they've read in quite some time makes me wonder about this certain person's mental abilities. because not a single thing of it was good. It seems to me that I am going to keep ranting about books, and In the Miso Soup is not going to change because this is, without a doubt, one of the worst books I've ever read. And it's not because of that one horrible scene in here, it's more about the fact that people said this is one of the most disturbing books out there. I read it, and I understand why people would maybe think that because of that one scene. But that one scene you can find in just about any book that's anything slightly dark. And it just makes me think people are just raving about this because it might be their first one they've read that was slightly dark. Like back in when I first started making content 3, 4 years ago, I read a lot of fucked up books. I don't know if that maybe like has neutralized a lot of the sort of stuff that people find dark for me now. But even then, without if we don't include that scene about how bad this was, the writing did nothing to make you care about any of the characters. Like that scene happens, and you're just like, okay, then what? And then you get blocks and blocks and blocks of writing describing certain things that do not matter towards the story. And it might have added like a little bit of character development to the main character, but because he's so bland anyway, you just don't care because like it makes you feel like, why am I learning more about this person when the book ends in 20 pages and this when a big change should happen or the ending should happen? But to me, it feels like it just ends and it doesn't do anything to bring the story together. Really, like, don't get me wrong, there is like a little like, oh, he's got this, and it's because of what happened in the beginning, and it just doesn't work for me. Like, no part of this book I felt at any point I could say, you know what, I'm enjoying myself. And if it was anything more than 180 pages, I just wouldn't care. Especially when like there's pages that just are like that. And there's no like nothing cutting in between it to make you have like a little break. But no, you've got to read about a Peruvian hooker. That is what this whole page is, 2 pages are about. And it's just not worth anyone's time. And it really pissed me off. Let's do the two mangas. Let's get them out of the way because a lot of people don't really care about manga. I read the first one in the Cirque du Freak series. I absolutely love Darren Shan. Darren Shan is the whole reason I enjoy horror. So I wanted to get the manga, reread through this series that I really enjoy, but in a different format. And I read the first one. It's great. Brought back so many great memories, and I can't wait to get into the second one, which I will be doing probably in July. So yeah, can't wait. Really enjoyed this. I recommend you pick it up if you're looking for a little bit of horror in the vampire world. And a new manga that I've been getting into recently is called Sacramento Days. I don't know if a lot of people heard about this. I don't know how popular it is. I don't really pay attention to that sort of stuff. But an assassin becomes a grocery store owner because he loves his family. And then people are trying to get rid of him because he's left the order. And it's great. I love it. The humor that's in it is great. The fighting scenes are fantastic. And the way that this guy, who just wants to look after his family, is like so annoyed about these assassins, just hits every single time, and I can't wait to finish this series. I want to try and get like a big bulk of them in one go, so I can just sit for a whole day or two and just get through them because I am enjoying the series that much. So yeah, if you're looking for a new manga to get into, Sacramento Days, happily. Let's talk good thrillers. Dark is When the Devil Comes. This I got given by the publisher, and I wanted to read it for so long, but for some reason I just never got around to it. And then when I did, I enjoyed it like so much. It has a nice like little psychological thriller aspect thrown in there, which is great, and I really enjoyed it. I think the writing's fantastic. With the way that the author makes you care about these characters, it just hits a little bit different. But my one downside is they basically included cousin It from the Adams family as a horror aspect, as some part of a person's imagination, and I don't know how I feel about it because it feels like it's a bit lazy in the writing aspect. It includes like, well, a hair monster. And I don't like, to me, it let it down a little bit because if you don't include that aspect, it doesn't really change anything to the story at all. It's a very small part of the thriller aspect of this whole like, to include. So I kind of don't understand why it was included because you could have just cut it and it would have made no difference to the story really. And to me, I think they just added it in to try and add a little bit more horror factor. But for me, I just found it funny. No part of it was scary. I just thought, why the fuck? Like in my head, when I was imagining what was happening in the story, it was just cousin It was there. And it was weird. It was weird. Still rated 4 stars. And if you're looking for a thriller, you should probably pick this up. But still, yeah, bit weird. I also recently read The Ha. This is a short story horror where you kind of follow this 80-odd-year-old woman trying to protect her house she's had with her husband for 60 odd years from this billionaire trying to build a golf course. And Then she goes for a walk, finds this blob thing in the water, picks it up, takes it home, and that's when the horror aspect starts. And it's so good. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to enjoy it so much as I did, especially when I always have struggled with the older characters of being the main characters, like older people. And I don't know why, but this old woman, she did it right. I don't know what she did, but she did it right. And it just made the story that much enjoyable because you could see the feelings in these people and how it was affecting them just because this one dickhead wanted to build a golf course for some fucking stupid reason. And towards the end, you are kind of rooting for the monster. I'm not gonna lie, because well, the monster sounds better than the fucking billionaire dickhead. So yeah, I rated this 4 stars. You should pick it up. Another book that I read on my Kindle was The Light That Blinds Us. This is a series that I've been told I should get into for quite some time now, and I read it and I did enjoy aspects of it. Like to me, I feel like I could read the second one in the series and figure out how this whole story ends. But the one major down point of this book is the author had to make sure that you knew how good looking and how powerful and how amazing the 4 main characters were every other page. It feels like these people needed to have that ego boost boosted into them every single time whenever something was about to happen, just for them to be able to do anything. And that got very old very fucking quickly, and it kind of ruined the whole book for me because it's so shit reading about a character and then going, I'm the fucking best thing ever, and then doing the thing that they expected you to do anyway. And then 3 pages later, they go, oh, you're so beautiful. I'm just like, what? Why is this relevant to the story? I want to know about the powers. I want to know about the bad guys. I want to know how this whole story is going to develop, not how good looking the fucking characters are, which I don't think adds anything to the story anyway. Describe how they look. Great. Put a picture in there. Even better. It means I don't have to do any work when thinking. Don't bring it up every other page if you're looking for a filler part of your book to increase the length, which is what it felt like it was doing. And it was just so annoying. But like the story was good, which kind of made it worse because if the author focused on the story, it could have been so much better to the point where I would have been raving about this book, but instead I'm kind of annoyed by it. I did rate it 3.5, which is still a good rating, but that's I do feel like I should bring it down to 3 because it has really annoyed me, clearly. But still, we're gonna go with it. It's a good NA book, like if that makes sense, new adult fantasy. It's good for that aspect if you're trying to get into the genre, but just be prepared to be annoyed about some fucking stupid characters. Bobbyverse is slowly becoming one of my favorite sci-fi series of all time, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I can't wait to read the third one. I keep having to get the special editions because I'm just kind of loving how it all looks. To me, this is like a perfect mixture between Dungeon Crawler Carl and The Martian. Don't understand how that really works, but with the humor and the science and everything else, it just feels that way. And the fact that technically all the characters are the same person adds to the aspect I think that really makes it sci-fi for me, and I can't wait to read more of this series. Each time I get a new one in the series, I binge it in a day because I just want to know everything about this, the whole story, and how this whole world and universe is going to keep going. And the battle scenes are great. I fucking love them. But it's when the Bobs all get together and talk. I don't know what it is, but that sort of character drive, like getting to know all the different sorts of Bobs as different people, I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to read more. Grim Tales was the classic that I read this month, and I understand why it's called Grim Tales. Like certain aspects of it was a bit where with like people's toes getting chopped off or people dying, but I don't know. I expected grimmer. I expected like horrible like fairy tales, and I just didn't really get that. And it was a little bit annoying. And I always have struggled with reading short stories, but these are super short. Like some of them are like 3 pages long, some are 10. But no matter how deep you get into the story, you just don't care, which is kind of really hard when you're a reader to keep reading because if you don't care about any of the characters that are in it, and by the time you're on to the next story, it becomes shit because you've already forgotten what happened in the last story because you don't really care, so you just jumped onto the next story. I read majority of this as an audiobook because I just didn't feel like sitting down to read about 4 pages of Little Riding Hood. So I played my game, put the audiobook on, listened to that, and just had my about this had a more enjoyable time, I think, because I got to listen to the stories, got to play the game, got to live my best life. While if I had to just sit and read all 400 pages of this book, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't get me wrong, I still rate it 3 stars. I still think it's a good classic, and I think it looks great, especially in this cloth-bound edition. I just think they should have made them slightly longer stories and a bit more grimmer, which is kind of the whole point of this. And for the fact it's called for young and old, I wouldn't say young. I say like maybe mid teenagers, and then maybe up to like 40. Because I think after that you just don't care about this sort of stuff. But we'll see. I still rated 3 stars, so maybe pick it up. So yeah, that's been my June wrap up. It's been great to read all these books. Do I think I'll do it again? Probably not, because I have work again. So that's annoying. But still, it was great to read all these books. Hopefully, I'm going to get to about 5, maybe 6 this in July, and we'll see how things go. But I am going to be trying to get back to making the longer videos again because I have a little bit more free time and I do enjoy doing them. I'm going to try and do some challenges here and there and to see how it all works out. But let me know what you read this month because I want to know in the comments and we can talk about it more. And who knows, I might get my next big read from you. So can't wait. It's been fantastic. Talk to you next time. Peace.